tonight at Nelson Coliseum, it's the battle of experience versus youth. Kansas, one of the most experienced veteran teams in the country, against an Iowa State team where 50% of their scoring comes from the freshman class. Larry Morgan and Molly Parrish with you at Nelson Coliseum. And Molly, it'll be interesting to see whether experience or youth will come out on top tonight.
Well, this Iowa State team and their youth sure did a nice job down in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Gallagher, Iowa, challenging place to play. They were not afraid of the bright lights of the Big 12 Conference. So that was exciting for this Iowa State coaching staff to see. For Kansas, they're hungry for a win. They played a challenging non-conference schedule. They lost their Big 12 opener at home. This is a team that is really ready to play tonight.
They've not won here since 2015, so, they're hungry for a victory on the road. Let's take a look at our spotlight players.
Well, for Kansas, we're going to spotlight Holly Kurskier. She's a fifth-year senior, one of 4 fifth-year seniors. They have 6 total seniors on this Jayhawk squad. She averages 11 points per game, but just exploded for 19 points at home against West Virginia. She was 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. Coach Snyder looking for Holly and her fellow seniors to lead a good effort tonight in Hilton Coliseum. And for Iowa State, we're going to talk about their balanced scoring attack. Of course, the freshmen and the 5 freshmen who have really come onto the scene this year for Iowa State. But in addition to 3 of them, Audie Crooks, Heidi Brown, Ariana Jackson with a career high of 14, Nellie Nottaboot with a really nice game for Iowa State. Is this an opportunity for Nellie to kind of break out a little bit and be more of an offensive threat? Certainly have to feel good if you're Iowa State having 4 players in double figures in your Big 12 conference opener.
Kansas comes in at 7-5, and as you mentioned, lost to West Virginia in their Big 12 opener, while the Cyclones, coming off the road win at Oklahoma State, 76-68, 8-4 the record overall, and both teams have losses to 2 top 25 teams on their resume. In fact, Kansas, one of their losses to UConn, and that was only by 8 points.
Well, this Kansas team, they won the WNIT a year ago, felt like they were unfairly snubbed out of NCAA tournament selection, so they scheduled a really challenging non-conference slate. We'll talk more about that throughout the broadcast, but they had high expectations coming into this season.
Dee Cantor in her 40th year of officiating college basketball, tosses the ball up, and it's the Cyclones with the opening tap under the direction of Ariana Jackson, one of 2 starting Jacksons, one on each squad in the ball game tonight.
Ariana Jackson really coming into her own at that point guard position as a freshman. She's had a lot thrown at her in her first semester of college basketball, but she's really responding nicely.
Shot clock is down to 7 on a good defensive possession by the Kansas Jayhawks. It's down to 3. Audie Crooks tries to force something, and her floater goes right through the net to give the Cyclones the early lead.
Exactly how Bill Finley drew it up in the pregame huddle. I am certain that you had Audie Crooks off 1 foot.
What hasn't she done this year? Both these squads are led by freshmen as their leading scorer. Crooks leads Iowa State at 16.5 per ball game, and Nichols at 13.3 leads the Jayhawks in scoring. And the shot won't go by Zakiya Franklin, and here come the Cyclones, who are 6-1 on their home court this year. Their only loss to then second-ranked Iowa.
Well, this is going to be a Kansas team that will put a lot of defensive pressure on Iowa State. They'll be physical. You can tell already, for those who have seen this Iowa State team play this year, this is maybe one of the most aggressive defenses they will see on that player-to-player half-court defense.
Addie Brown out of Derby, Kansas, a turnaround that won't go. And the Jayhawks look for their first points from Tiana Jackson, and she hits. She's averaging almost 13 points a ball game and pulling down 10 rebounds a game, which is 3rd best in the conference.
Preseason Big 12 Conference all-conference team is Jackson.
Crooks sets the screen. And the call will go against Yvette Mayberry, who ran into the screen that time, and she picks up the foul. So Bellinger will inbound. Tries to hit Crooks, the ball taken away by Tiana Jackson.
So not only can Tiana Jackson block shots with that 6'6" frame of hers, but she can get out and defend like she just did.
Lengthy 3 try by Samaya Nichols won't go, and the rebound taken by the Cyclones. Iowa State with a 13.5 rebound margin over their opponents has a second basket from the freshman of the week in the conference for the Big 12, Audie Crooks.
Good look at the very nice hands of Audie Crooks. Receiving that pass easily with the wide open layup.
And Kurzgeter with a 3. That is her 26th this year. She leads the Jayhawks in that category. Jackson coming off a 14-point performance against Oklahoma State on Saturday in Stillwater with the basketball. At the high school in Des Moines, Roosevelt High, is her freshman season. She starts to go down the lane. She pitches it out for Brown, a shot in and out, and into the hands of Holly Kurzgeter. Kurzgeter working against the Cyclone defense. On top it comes to Jackson. She'll put it on the floor, knock it off the glass and down. A couple of baskets early for Tiana Jackson, the senior from East Chicago, Indiana, in her third and final season as a Jayhawk.
We talked about the balanced scoring of Iowa State down in Stillwater this last weekend. This Kansas team doesn't really have one big scorer. They have 4 players averaging double figures per game, and then a fifth, Mayberry, averaging just under 10. So essentially 5 players averaging in double figures night in and night out. It's quite an offensive threat they have.
Brown attacks. The basketball knocked away. She gets it back, flips it to Crooks, and Crooks has got 3 baskets and the first 6 points for Iowa State.
Nice little heads-up play there by freshman Addie Brown to dump it down to freshman teammate Crooks.
So for the Jayhawks, you've got 4 senior starters and a true freshman in Samaya Nichols, a very talented performer from Overland Park, Kansas. She goes down on that play as she is fouled.
Not too common to have a freshman lead a veteran team in scoring, but that's what Samaya Nichols is doing so far this season. Good replay there of that offensive rebound and dunk down by Addie Brown.
And Brown picking up the first foul of the night for Iowa State. Change early for Kansas as Denai Papadopoulou comes in. And the 3 from the wing goes down, and Kansas jumps to a 4-point lead.
Now, Kurzgeter shooting 45% from beyond the arc so far this season, and it's not like she's only taken a handful of them. She's made her 26th and 27th three-pointers on the season in tonight's game.
And her percentage better than that tonight. She's 2 for 2. Jackson with the reverse. The rebound comes to Nichols. The freshman from Overland Park averaging 13.3, as we mentioned, leading a balanced attack for Kansas. Here's the drive by Ryan Cobbins, who also just came in at the dead ball. Nichols for 3. Samaya Nichols with her 14th three-pointer this season.
Jayhawks shooting with a lot of confidence from deep, Larry. 3 of 5 from beyond the arc as a squad. They shoot 35% from downtown. Certainly a respectable number as a team.
Don't average a lot, though. Average less than 7 makes per game from the three-point line. Ball knocked away from the Cyclones as that was Kelsey Jones who's come into the ballgame. Ball batted away from her, and on the tie ball, it will go to the Kansas Jayhawks. Change for Iowa State. A starter, Hannah Bellinger, the transfer from Truman State, comes onto the court.
Well, we knew this was going to be a Kansas team that came into this game with a lot of energy, a lot of passion. They know that they need a win after losing on their home court the other day. And that tie-up right there, everybody on their bench is up. Tons of energy, tons of enthusiasm out of that Jayhawks bench.
Nelly Nadabu playing the post now for Iowa State as Audie Crooks gets her first rest. Shot by Cobbins is long, and it's a one-and-done situation for Kansas. And here comes Bellinger into the offensive end for Iowa State. Kansas playing some very tight defense early in this one. Lob comes inside for Nadabu. She travels, and the turnover will give it back to the Jayhawks. And with that, we have our first timeout. 4:28 left to play in the opening quarter. The Jayhawks have opened a 7-point lead at 13-6. You're watching college basketball in Big 12 now on ESPN+.
At MidAmerican Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
With their strength and versatility, there's almost no job John Deere compact utility tractors can't handle. With their powerful diesel engines and auto connect system, these tractors make your job easier. From mowing to hauling to snow removal, these machines do it all. And right now at Van Wall, you can get a John Deere 1023E for as little as $129 per month. Stop into your local Van Wall today or visit vanwall.com for more details.
Bananas are only 39 cents a pound at Hy-Vee. That's not a sale price. That's the price with the Hy-Vee Perks membership. And 39 cents a pound is not just the price today or this week. It's the Perks price every day. With the Hy-Vee Perks membership, you can save on hundreds of products store-wide every time you shop. And count on Perks prices to stay the same. So if you want to pay less for bananas every day, sign up for Hy-Vee Perks. It's free and easy.
To anyone passing through our state, this might be the view they see. But the people who call Iowa home know it's so much more. Corn is a homegrown, renewable fuel. Corn is fed to pork, beef, poultry, and dairy so that we can enjoy delicious, nutritious meals. Corn is in 4,000 everyday products we rely on. Corn grows our economy and connects our communities. So yeah, our highway views are full of corn, and we're proud of it, because corn grows Iowa.
Jayhawks on a 6-0 run have opened a 7-point lead to 13-6. And Molly, when you talk about experience, there can't be many more teams in the country more experienced than this one.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about those 4 fifth-year seniors, or super seniors is how they refer to them in their game notes, which I think is kind of amusing. And we said Coach Snyder scheduled a challenging way in that non-conference. He said, well, we'll get to the end of the season, and I'll let you know if that paid off or not.
And Kurzgeter and Franklin, how rare is this? They've been teammates at Kansas for 5 consecutive years. As the Jayhawks get a basket from Franklin, one of those 2 fifth-year seniors who have played the length of their schedule together, and that gives the Jayhawks an 8-0 run. Niner Dew back in for Iowa State. She started. The shot won't go by Bellinger, but the offensive rebound is put right back by Jalen Bristow, the freshman from Wichita Falls, Texas.
Well, Jalen is just the type of player. She just has a nose for the basketball, and then that offensive rebound is a great example of it. She can read the basketball off the rim, Johnny on the spot, positions herself really effectively, especially for a freshman.
Jackson at the high post at 6'6". She's the big story for Kansas, and what a career she's had. And as Bill Fenley points out, our 2-5s have never played anybody like Tiana Jackson.
Yep. I was surprised that in an earlier possession, Jackson with her height and her length, I think she can play behind Audie Crooks, and she gambled a little bit for a pass, and Audie was able to catch and then finish. It'll be interesting to see if she plays behind Audie with that height that she has.
Emily Ryan has come in for the Cyclones. Of course, she has been sidelined the bulk of this year with an injury, has just come back a couple of ball games ago. This just her 4th game. She's still on a minute count as the shot clock goes down to 1, and it won't be a shot clock violation because it's a Kansas steal by Zakiya Franklin. Franklin takes it all the way to the rack, off the glass, and Crooks is there for the rebound. So Ryan making a valiant comeback, and she looks like she hasn't missed a step, though, doesn't she?
Well, Coach Finley talked about Emily Ryan and Ariana Jackson. We don't see that 1-2 combo right now, but he's mentioned that the two of them playing together has been a really nice combo situation for this team.
Jackson knocks away the pass intended for Crooks, and the Cyclones have turned it over for the 4th time.
And against a really good defensive team like Kansas, who's playing a lot of pressure defense, will Iowa State do more of that 2-ball handler offense if you need a couple more steady-handed guards in your lineup?
Mayberry on the miss. Crooks mishandles it, so she gets it outside to Jones, who drives, leaves it short, and once again the rebound taken by Zakiya Franklin, who loves to play against the Cyclones. Her career best last year, 31 points against the Cyclones in Lawrence in the game that Iowa State fell to Kansas 98-93. Nice finish there by Tiana Jackson. She's got a quick 6 for Iowa State.
Well, shooting percentage is not all that different here in the early going. Really stands out is the turnovers. Kansas has not turned the basketball over. Meanwhile, Iowa State has given the basketball up 5 times now.
He's got a quick 6 points for the Jayhawks rather than Iowa State, which I did say inadvertently. And it's the rebound taken by that Mayberry. Jackson takes it against Crooks. Nothing going there, so she pitches it outside. Driving down the lane is Kersgeter, and the rebound is taken by Crooks. Crooks averaging 6 rebounds a ball game in addition to 16.5 points per game. He's also hitting 67% of her shots from the floor. And there's a foul whistled inside. It'll go against Mayberry, and that will be her second.
2 fouls on the Kansas team, both of them on Mayberry. Both coaching staffs talked about free throws, how important it would be for them to get to the free throw line themselves, and for Iowa State not wanting to put Kansas at the free throw line. Felt like after the Oklahoma State game, that was an area of improvement. They fouled shooters 7 times in that game.
Mayberry with those 2 fouls checks out. And Laia Canessa, freshman from Barcelona, Spain, has come in to take her place. She is number 6. And also in the lineup right now, Skylar Gill for Kansas. So both coaches going to the bench liberally here in this first quarter. Here's Cobbins pitching it for Canessa, a little bit too tall. And that turnover against the Jayhawks will be their first of the night. Here's Bill Finley, the 9th active winningest coach in college basketball with 764 victories in his 36th season. Ryan having the ball slapped away and then loses it, and so the ball will go back to Kansas. And the Cyclones have really been bugged by turnovers here in this first quarter. That is their 6th.
Well, this Kansas team knows how that feels. They got a taste of their own medicine against West Virginia. Down in Lawrence, West Virginia scored 21 points off of those Kansas turnovers, so certainly a statistic that they want to take advantage of in this game.
Jayhawks play for the final shot of the first quarter, and Nichols. There's an offensive foul not called against Nichols, but I believe they caught Cobbins with it. And so that foul will go against the Jayhawks and give the Cyclones a chance at the last shot in the quarter with 4.7 seconds remaining. Ryan puts on the brakes. Brown from behind the midcourt line. Close, but not there. And at the end of 1 quarter of play, the Jayhawks have a 9-point lead at 17-8. You're watching college basketball on Big 12 Now on ESPN+.
Live sport.
Series can be deadlocked at 46-46.
And that Kansas win at Lawrence against the Cyclones last year broke a long 16-game Iowa State winning streak in the series.
No, we talked about this Kansas squad being hungry for a win. You better believe Coach Snyder is hungry for a win himself. He's 1-15 against the Cyclones in his tenure down in Lawrence.
Jackson with a quick kick for Canessa. Cobbins on the baseline. Tries to make the move against Neimer Dew. Makes a nice twist, but can't get the shot to go down. And the ball goes out of bounds. And the Cyclones think it should belong to them. Bill Finley thinks it should belong to them. But the officials rule otherwise, and it's Jayhawk basketball.
We'll see if we can get a good look at it. I don't feel like I have enough evidence in that shot there.
Samaya Nichols, a very talented freshman player, knocks down her second basket early in the ballgame, and the Cyclones extend their biggest lead of the night to 11 points. And there's a foul called against the Jayhawks. It'll go against Tiana Jackson. That'll be her first. And Iowa State will play it with 9:12 left to play, just underway second quarter. Cyclones have won 4 ball games in a row since losing to then second-ranked Iowa here on the Hilton Coliseum floor.
Well, this Iowa State team playing with more and more confidence, particularly when you win 6 out of 7, played well against a very good Iowa team.
Audie Crooks called for the offensive foul.
But this Iowa State team just can't quite seem to find the rhythm on the offensive end. Kansas is doing a wonderful job of taking them out of what they want to do, just making Iowa State really uncomfortable, I think is how I would best describe it.
Nichols into the offensive end, picked up by Ariana Jackson. Cobbins now finds Tiana Jackson, and she travels. Now, we talked earlier, Molly, about the number of turnovers that Iowa State had, and they had 6 in the first quarter, but it really didn't wound them much because Kansas only scored 2 points off those 6 turnovers.
Well, maybe they haven't scored points directly off those turnovers, but that's fewer possessions, fewer shot attempts for Iowa State. You know, so if you figure you're shooting 50% from the field, that's 6 shot attempts, that's 3 field goals. That's 6 points, that's 9 points that Iowa State didn't even have the opportunity to score.
Annie Brown, the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Kansas last year with her first 2 points. Nichols finds Kurzgeter, and Kurzgeter misfiring on the 3. She had a couple of them in the first quarter. And the battle for the loose basketball, side of bounds off Jackson. Nice effort by Nymeer Dew for Iowa State.
Nice pass by Ariana Jackson. She is going to be one tired young lady at the end of this game with the pressure and the defensive intensity that is being put on her as a primary ball handler.
Dew fires and does not get the bounce. Annie Brown with an offensive rebound. And now the rebound is taken down by Ryan Cobbins. Cobbins in transfer from Alabama. Nichols gets the screen from Jackson. Cobbins for 3. Rebound by Crooks. Iowa State really struggling at the offensive end. This is a team that averages 78 points a ball game. But the Jayhawks have limited them to 10, now with 3 minutes almost gone in the second quarter. Emily Ryan about to come back along with others for Iowa State. As Jackson works against Cobbins, shot clock down to 6. Dew on the drive, she stops. Nice job of cutting it underneath, and then the up and under from underneath on the reverse layup.
Yes, crafty little move there by Nymeer Dew. After the Kansas defense did a pretty good job collapsing on her. A couple of blue jerseys around her. Instead of kicking it out, as you mentioned, she's able to make that step-through move and finish.
Cyclones with back-to-back baskets. Cobbins for 3, and rebound taken by Brown. Brown averages 9 rebounds, 14.5 points per game. She already has 6 double-doubles in this, her 13th ball game as a Cyclone. So the freshman out of Derby, Kansas has done a terrific job for Iowa State. There's a bump as the shot put up by Nichols, and I believe they're going to get Jackson on the foul, and they do. And Ariana Jackson with her first foul.
An interesting statistic, Larry. Iowa State has turned the basketball over 9 times, but no one has more than 1. Each of the 9 players who has entered this contest for Iowa State has given the basketball away 1 time.
This is the Kansas defense that's giving up only 62 points a game. So the Cyclones knew they would be in for a challenge with this Kansas defense. Samaya Nichols at the free throw line. She has not been healthy really since the Christmas break and missed a lot of practice. She struggled and had a season low 5 points against West Virginia the other day on Saturday. However, Coach Brandon Snyder points out maybe she shouldn't have even played because she's been so ill, but she's feeling better tonight. So when she's healthy, big factor for the Jayhawks.
Well, like we said, she leads this team in scoring as a freshman at 13 points per game. That's quite a feat for a youngster at this level of basketball.
Ryan has the ball batted away by Nichols and off of Ryan, and the turnover will once again give it to the Jayhawks. And the Cyclones commit their 10th turnover of this first half. This is an Iowa State team that averages only 15 turnovers a ball game. They've already turned it over 10 times. Some outstanding Kansas defense. Nichols leaving it short. Risto with a rebound. Baseline feed for Nadabu. And she's bottled up well by Papadopoulou. Down the lane comes Ryan, and she draws a foul, and Emily Ryan will go to the line. And Emily Ryan, one of the outstanding free throw shooters in Big 12 history, will step to the stripe.
Both teams struggling on the offensive end this second quarter, Larry. Iowa State outscoring Kansas 4-3. Not the most aesthetically pleasing brand of basketball here in these first nearly 5 minutes of basketball.
Not exactly. We talk about Ryan being a great free throw shooter, and she is, and she misfires there. She's again about 75% coming back from her injury, and Dale Finley says she will play about 15 to 20 minutes of ball game, and that is it at this point. But of course, she's a two-time All Big 12 performer, and the Cyclones really missed her in the early going, and yet had a chance to give freshmen some quality minutes. Then Aya Franklin looks for Dinah Jackson, and Jackson gets fouled by Nadabu. Ellie Nadabu with her first foul.
Ellie Nadabu definitely not bashful about mixing it up on the inside. She is so strong.
Nadabu, not a newcomer to Iowa State, but I should say is a newcomer, not a freshman. She played at Sacramento State last year.
And Iowa Western Community College before that, so it must have been something about the state of Iowa that she enjoyed.
Strong rebound there by Jackson, but she can't finish, and the rebound is taken by Jalen Bristow, a 6'2 freshman out of Wichita Falls, Kansas. He comes off the bench, averaging 7 a ball game. Here's Ryan handing it off to Addie Brown. Now Brown open for 3. Leaves it short. I think the ball may have been partially touched by Jackson.
Yeah, I agree. Got that 6'6" frame flying at you. When you think you have an open window, the window gets smaller in a hurry.
I think of the number of teams that have not faced a 6'6 performer, let alone one as talented as Jackson, until they face her. From the free throw line, the shot won't go down. Brown taps it over to Bristow. Bristow races into the offensive end for Iowa State.
Great job by Addie Brown just going up and tapping that ball away. She was up there.
Brown, a 6'2 freshman with great upside. In fact, Bill Fenley thinks maybe a pro career in her future. Nadabu gets fouled by Jackson. And Tyna Jackson has her second foul. Breaking the action, you're watching college basketball on Big 12 Now on ESPN.
Live.
Mary Morgan and Molly Parrott back with you at Hilton Coliseum. The Jayhawks with a 2013 lead under the direction of ninth-year head coach Brandon Schneider. Take a look at his resume, and the interesting thing about this coach was he was a 3-time All-American player himself at Wayland Baptist.
Well, he comes from a coaching family. His dad, a longtime college coach. His brother, a coach. Asked him today at shoot-around, fun to chat with him a little bit. I said, so is coaching always something you thought you would do? Was that kind of a no-brainer? Of course, he grew up as a gym rat. He's like, actually, no. I thought I was going to get a PhD in sports psychology. So we ended up having a really fun conversation about the mental aspect of the game and mental health and student athletes and, really being an advocate for players and the needs that they all have. So it was fun, really enjoyable conversation, and he's definitely got his players ready to go tonight.
Nelly Nadabu at the line. Goes 1 out of 2, and the rebound is ripped down by Skylar Gill, the transfer from North Alabama. Nichols into the offensive end. She has 4 steals of the 7 Cyclone steals already, forcing Iowa State to 10 turnovers, 7 of them by steals. Shot by Gill won't go. The rebound is taken down by Nadabu. Nadabu at Sacramento State, first team All-Big Sky last year. Ryan looking for an opening, but again, the Kansas defense has been extremely tough thus far. So shooting over it is Ryan for 3.
I think they're going to say her toes on the line. He can't go with the signal of the 2 to the scorer's table.
So she just behind, or just in front of that 3-point line.
This Kansas offense struggling in the second quarter. They looked awfully good in the first period. Shot 50% from the field. They were 3 of 7 from deep. And in the second quarter, not shooting the basketball well at all.
Nichols with the miss, Dew with the rebound.
They've missed their last 9 shots.
They had opened a double-digit lead early in this one, and a nice feed inside gets the Cyclones up to. Right on their feet as Nelly Nadabu connects. And that leads to a timeout by the Jayhawks. Brandon Schneider said he does not like the way this game has gone in the last couple of minutes.
Well, we mentioned earlier in this first half, Iowa State just really looking pretty uncomfortable on the offensive end, turning the basketball over a lot, and Kansas really just pushing them out beyond that three-point arc and beyond that attacking area of the floor. But these last few possessions, Iowa State, they've just hung in there. Maybe that Kansas defensive intensity isn't what it was in that first quarter, and they're executing at a much higher level. Still turning the basketball over a little bit. Iowa State with 10 giveaways, but definitely seem to have calmed down a little bit, and certainly imagine that Emily Ryan is a big part of that. That presence that she brings to the huddle and to the floor. She is such an extension of the coaching staff.
Kansas took an 11-point lead early in this quarter, but the Cyclones have come back to make it a 2-point ball game. Iowa State on a 6-0 run. And so Brandon Schneider wanted to regroup his team. Here's Franklin finding Nichols. Nichols eyes a three, but jumping in her face is Jones, so she decides not to take it. Shot clock now down to 7. Nichols gets a screen. He finds Franklin. Nichols with 3 on the shot clock. Tries to force a shot. Ryan is going to be called for a foul. Bill Finley thought it might have been a different call. He thought maybe a travel, but that's not the way the officials call it.
Well, Samaya Nichols, she does a good job of making something out of nothing there. Coach Snyder, that is, talked about Samaya Nichols and said he's really challenging her a lot for a freshman in particular, has very high expectations of what she can do. Wishes she would assert herself a little bit more than she does, or that I think is a great example of asserting herself in a situation where there was really nothing happening on the offensive end, and she makes lemonade out of lemons.
She comes from a Kansas City suburb of Overland Park, went to Shawnee Mission West High School, 3-time first-team All-Stater. She goes 1 out of 2 at the line. The ball goes out of bounds off the Jayhawks, and the Cyclones down by 3, played with 2:36 left to play in a low-scoring first half.
Oh, it looked like Kansas was going to score a bunch of points in the first quarter, but cooled off considerably in the second period.
And the Jayhawks only shooting 32% right now, and the Cyclones at 44%. The lob intended for Crooks, and a good job getting a hand on it by Papadopoulou and knocking it away.
And the typically sure-handed Crooks just couldn't quite snag that basketball out of the air.
Nichols for 3, runs the rim, comes off. Crooks tries to fingertip control the rebound, gets some help from Addie Brown. Brown being challenged by Cobbins on the defense. Crooks spins inside, hits the side of the backboard. And again, Papadopoulou doing a nice job defensively for the Jayhawks. Inside 2 minutes left in this first half. Again, a very low-scoring ball game thus far as Franklin tries to move it against Ryan. Her floater won't go. The offensive rebound picked up, and it won't fly by Kersgeter, but the Jayhawks will get a third opportunity at it. Crooks bats it away. Ryan goes to the floor trying to get it. Tie ball. The possession arrow is going to keep it in the Kansas end. 10 seconds for the Jayhawks to shoot.
Well, Kansas, 3 players with 2 personal fouls apiece. A couple of those are starters. Certainly affecting their rhythm on the offensive end, with a couple of their usual suspects on the offensive side of the floor currently out of action.
Holly Kersgeter getting ready to inbound. The 5th-year Jayhawk from Sand Springs, Oklahoma, coming off the 18-point performance against West Virginia. And all but 2 of those came in the second half. Franklin for 3. The left-hander pops it home, and that is her second basket of the ball game.
And really nice penetration by Samaya Nichols to make that happen.
Come down to the 1-minute mark in this first half. Ryan with a skip pass. An open look and nothing but net for Anna Bellinger, the transfer from Truman State.
Well, Iowa State had not connected on a three-pointer until that basket, have not attempted as many as they often do, 1 of 6 from downtown.
And since they had hit an NCAA record 906 threes in ball games, at least one, 906 games in a row, is pretty unusual to go this deep into a half without getting one. Nichols misfires from the corner. Addie Brown with a rebound, challenged by Cobbins. To the offensive end, it comes to Bellinger. Just about a second differential, maybe 2-second differential between the end of the first half and the shot clock. Actually, just 1 second. So Ryan will look for a final shot for Iowa State. Switch defensively. Cobbins picks her up. Brown inside, scores it. And she will go to the line of the foul on Kersgeter.
What a well-executed play for Iowa State. Emily Ryan just in command of the offense at that point guard position. And Addie Brown with that nice posting up position, goes up strong with the finish.
This shows you the value that Emily Ryan brings to the Cyclone Ball Club.
Yep. And then Ariana Jackson will come in on the defensive end. Very good defender, particularly for a freshman. I love the grittiness that she brings to this team on the defensive end of the floor.
So after trailing by 11 in the start of the quarter, Iowa State can tie it up with 4.9 to go in the half. Brown, a 71% free throw shooter. That's her 5th point. Jayhawks have 4.9 to try to take the lead in the half. Nichols all the way to the basket, batted away by Iowa State. The Cyclones make a big run to end the second quarter, forcing a tie game at the half. It's Iowa State and Kansas deadlocked at 24. You're watching college basketball on Big 12 Now on ESPN+.
Live sports.